Chapter 13 Windmills and Flour Barrels. Beaver skins had gone a long way toward establishing New York as a commercial seaport, but when the province was handed back to the Duke, something more was needed to increase the revenues from its trade. A few insignificant little taxes could never satisfy the Duke's expensive tastes. Accordingly, the windmill and flour barrels made their appearance in the seal of New York City, commemorating the next important step taken by this child of commerce. The Bolting Act, passed by the governor and the council in 1680, gave to the little settlement on the edge of a savage continent the monopoly of bolting and exporting flour. This act, the first piece of business good fortune that had come its way since the day of the lowly beaver, had a wonderful effect on the city's growth, trebling its wealth and population in the next 16 years. Among the distinguished men attracted to the Hudson River region by its era of prosperity was Robert Livingston, who bought a great tract of land, including most of the present Dutchess and Columbia counties, and established the home later known as Claremont. Here grew up a family destined for generations to take a prominent part in New York affairs. The revenues from the Bolting Act had already brought prosperity to the city, but those same revenues had a way of remaining in the pockets of the local merchants, to the bitter disappointment of the greedy Duke. He began to think seriously of giving up his territory, but William Penn, at the moment negotiating for his own colony in America, advised him to grant a petition for colonial representation, and see if this would not produce a better spirit among the inhabitants. The population of New York was now 3,000. It was the only colony denied a voice in its own government. Fortunately, Governor Andros appeared in England to clear himself from the suspicion of having kept out some of the profits, and no sooner had he reinstated himself in the good graces of Duke James than he added his voice to that of Penn. The Duke decided to follow their advice and sent over Thomas Dongan as governor, armed with permission for the long-desired assembly. The Assembly of the Province of New York, to which 18 representatives were elected, drew up a Charter of Liberties and Privileges, calling for self-government, self-taxation, a jury of 12, and other reforms. It was duly signed and sealed by the Duke under date of October 30th, 1683, but its delivery was put off. However, the colony went right on as if it had been granted, and much was gained, for a while. Dongan divided the city into 6 wards, of which the town of Harlem was the 6th, and made the rest of the province into counties bearing their present names: Kings, Queens, Suffolk, Dutchess, Richmond, New York, Orange, Ulster, Albany, Westchester, Dukes, and Cornwall. All creeds worshipped in the same church on Manna-Hatin, the Dutch in the morning, the French at noon, and the English in the afternoon. Since Andros's time, all the court records have been kept in the English language, and this, together with the free social life of the town, gave fresh encouragement to education. In spite of constant troubles with the French and Indians along the Canadian border, which kept the colony in a state of unrest, much was done to improve the city. Wall Street was laid out on the site of the old fortifications, and public wells were dug. In 1686, Governor Dongan gave to New York a charter which forms the basis of real estate titles and wharfage rights of today. This document has been called the most liberal charter ever given a city, and under it, for the first time, New York was able to plan far-sightedly for a great development.